You may have already seen my video about solving systems of equation using substitution. So when you use substitution, you're just plugging in a value for another value to eliminate one of the variables and figure out what each one is. So that's a good way to solve a system. Another way to solve is elimination. And you'll notice in this case, the variables are kind of arranged so that x is first, y is second, and then there's a constant on the right-hand side. And if they're not arranged that way, you can always rearrange equations by moving things around. So looking at these two equations, I could use substitution to solve them. So I could get y by itself and then plug in the value of y to another equation and figure out what x is. But that's a lot of work. When I look at it, I think it's easier to solve by elimination because I see a negative 4x here and a positive 4x here. So what I can actually do is I can add these equations to each other. So what I mean by that is I'll do negative 4x minus 2y equals negative 12. And then I'll just put the positive 4x plus 8y equals negative 24 just below it. And I'm going to add these equations together. And you can do this just adding the like terms. So the x terms, if I add negative 4 and positive 4, what happens to the x's is they get canceled out because that would be 0x. And then I can add negative 2y and positive 8y, which gives me 6y. And I can add negative 12 and negative 24, and that would give me negative 36. So already this is a very easy equation to solve. I've eliminated the x's and now I can solve for y just by dividing each side by 6. So the 6's cancel out and I get y equals negative 6. So very simple. Now all I have to do is take this value of y and plug it into one of the original equations to get the value of x. So if I do that, I can just plug it into this second one. So 4x plus 8y. So instead of 8y, I'll write 8 times negative 6, since y is the same as negative 6, equals negative 24. Okay, and then I can just go ahead and simplify. I have 4x plus 6 times negative 8 would give me negative 48. Negative 48 equals negative 24. And now, just to solve the equation, I have a negative 48, so I can add 48 to both sides. This 48 cancels out, and then 4x is going to be 48 and negative 24, which gives me positive 24. And now to solve for x, I just divide both sides by 4, and I get x equals 6. So I have x equals 6, y equals negative 6, and I can write my solution as a coordinate pair. So 6 comma negative 6 would be the solution. And that's how you solve systems by elimination.